Hi, how's it going? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. My name is Catie Brannon. This is Tea Time True Crime with Catie. So, if it's your first time here, hey, what's going on? I'm Catie. And if you are someone who's been watching my videos, hello, welcome back. Appreciate you. And I'm sure you've been enjoying the evolution. George? That happens. I'm safe. Everything is good. Someone's here wanting to look at the story too. I have a white candle burning, I have crystals around me, and I guess let's get on with it. Alright, that a little bit is odd, but let's go on with the story. So tonight, if you haven't guessed, it's probably going to have a lot of energy. It's a very, very sad story. In fact, I'm going to be talking about a serial killer, which I normally don't do. But, you guys, this case is ongoing, so I really want you to listen. Now, if this is not a good mental health day, and you are being, you cannot handle certain trigger words, please do not listen to this podcast. I care about you, and I love you, and I want you to be safe. Now, if you're still here and you want me to go on, unfortunately, guys, I'm going to be talking about the Hollywood Ripper. Yeah. Sending positive energy to the people involved in this case. I do have shout outs, you guys, but I will be giving the shout outs at the end of the podcast. And if you ever want to know any information about the art and stuff that's on my walls, I'll have that in the description box below. Behind me is my cat Max. He is my protector and he's just walking around. All things are good. I think they just want me to get on with the podcast. All right. Like I said, guys, this case is still going on. This is the ultimate case of how, like, quote unquote, a serial killer almost got away with it. Seriously, end quote. It is said that there may be more people that are involved in this case. I don't like to say the word victims, but there may be more victims. Another cat. My cats just came in. Just protecting. It's all good, baby. All good. All right. Now, unfortunately, guys, we have to talk about the main butthole of this story. All right. Okay. We have to talk about, sorry about that, if it hurt your ears, you guys, my feedback mic just fell. Like I said, guys, I usually don't talk about serial killers because there's so much energy, but I have to talk about this one, and I do not want to sugarcoat it because this happened, and this happened to women, and what this killer did was out of a horror movie, and I believe they deserve justice, and they need their voices heard. All right. Unfortunately, we have to talk about the monster. Okay, I'm going to call him the monster. Michael Garguglio, or Guglio, whatever the heck his name is. His picture will be right on the screen. He was born February 15th in the 1970s. Yes, that makes him an Aquarius. And not a nice Aquarius, that's for sure. He is of Italian descent, and he was raised in the Chicago area in the 1990s. Later on, he moved to Los Angeles to follow his dreams as an actor/model, to do the Hollywood thing. Those dreams did not pan out, so he became a bouncer at the famous Rainbow Club in West Hollywood, and also became an HVAC guy/repair guy. He was considered to be very handsome, intelligent. He always had a girlfriend, or he always had a lady, but little did anyone know he was into very dark fantasies, and he seemed to get off with control and pain. He was obsessed with Ted Bundy, and he was obsessed with forensics. He would study killers and saw exactly how they made their escape or what they did wrong in their crime, so he would get away with it. Yeah, he got away with a lot, you guys. It's unreal. He did get away with his crimes for years, okay? Until a TV program brought him to justice. Yes, you heard that right. A TV program. Now I'm going to bring you back to the beginning in the early 90s. I love the 1990s. Anyway, so where Mike, he was just in his teens. He played football. He did martial arts. He did kickboxing. And his best friend's sister was brutally murdered. Now, it was just vicious, you guys. Every single crime in this is absolutely vicious. The string behind me, if you guys are watching, is a cat toy. So there could be a chance where Bowie will be playing with the string. Just to let you know. All right. All right, well, my cat just ran out of here. Like a bat out of hell. Another cat in here? It's weird because usually when weird things happen, I stop. Like, I feel like I shouldn't stop talking. But I feel the opposite. I just feel like this is a lot of energy. Like I said, this case is ongoing, you guys. Like, it is ongoing. Okay. All right. So her father found her on the steps of their house and would do anything he could to revive her. Sadly, her arm was broken and she was stabbed multiple times. All right. Tricia Pacaccio. Now, that sounds very Italian, and it's outside of Chicago, so, Italians, there's a lot in Chicago. Anyway, she was 18 years old, and she was an extremely kind person, very loved by her community, and her death and the brutality of it shook the small town outside in Illinois. Now, around Chicago, in the summer of 1993. She arrived home a little late, and she was about to head into her house. And remember, she's only 18 years old. And until this unknown assailant grabbed her by her arm, twisted it, then broke it, and began stabbing her all over in her arm, her left breast, and her chest. She was laid there, like just bleeding on the steps, right in front of the front door of the family home. So, like, where the steps were, it was like, so you climb up the stairs, and then right before the doorway, there's like a little area. It's where a lot of people put, welcome home rugs and stuff like that. Or like welcome or anything like that. So that's where, sadly, her body was found, and she lied there bleeding to death. Hours later, her own father sees the little white tennis shoes sticking out because the father went towards his truck and went from the outside on the side of the house and then saw the shoes. So he immediately knew it was his daughter, and he ran screaming, call 911. And sadly, you guys, her own brother saw her as well. Just butchered. The brother could not even describe how he saw his sister. The brutal scene till this day has left him with nightmares for many, many years. I can't even imagine, you guys, to see a loved one like that. Rick, Tricia's father, now he gave a heartfelt testimony on how he found his daughter and how he tried to save her in an interview. He claimed tearfully during an interview, quote, I died right then and there, end quote. Tragically, there was no evidence at the scene, and the case actually went cold. It went cold for years. after the murder of Tricia, 4 years later, Mike was 17 at the time, okay? So if you don't know, I will tell you how we know it's Mike, and I'll put it all together at the end. I jump around, guys. I kind of speak in riddles, which I do apologize for, but that's just how I speak. But I like to get you guys understanding and to catch up as well. So, tragically, when Tricia was brutally murdered, who killed her was a 17-year-old a teenager named Michael Gargiglio. Now, when that murder happened, you guys, the family had to leave. You know what I'm saying? The Pacaccios. Forgive me, I'm not trying to butcher names. Please forgive me. But Tricia's family, they were so heartbroken about, like, her being dead at the door that the family decided to leave for 4 years. Well, 4 years passed by, and they actually decided to go back home. Now, who was there waiting for them? The mom, Diane, Michael Gargiglio. This is 4 years later, so we have 17, 18, 19, 20, 2021. Okay, that's the age of Mike. Mike goes to Tricia's parents' house, and he says, I need to speak to Rick. And Diane is like, well, he's at work right now, Mike. Now, I'll do a little bit on Mike. I did a little bit of backstory about him. Well, I found out that the family has actually known Mike since 2nd grade. So Mike was a neighbor, and like I said before, was Tricia's brother's best friend. So the family knew Mike pretty well. And, he was like, I need to talk to Rick. And the mom was like I said, he's at work. Did you want to wait for him? And he's like, yes. Mike waited at their house for over 90 minutes until Rick got home. And then weirdly, he looked like he was about to say something to Rick. And then right before he could say something, out of nowhere, Mike's sister and father come into the garage and grab Mike and get him away. That's a little suspicious. And ever since then, Rick, Tricia's father, always had a gut feeling that Mike had something to do with his daughter's murder. But tragically, he could not prove it. Yeah, there was no forensic evidence. There was no circumstantial evidence. It was insane. Like, the tracks were literally covered. It just really, really sad. I mean, this girl suffered. Like, I can't imagine you come home late at night, you guys, and then some man grabs you by the arm out of nowhere. So you're like tired. You want to go to bed, or you're probably dreaming of going out and hanging out with someone else, right? And then a man grabs you in the dark, twists your arm until it breaks. She fights, but then he just stabs her to death. I'm sorry, that's just so brutal and cruel. All right. But there was DNA, you guys. Sorry. Back then, though, in the early 90s, DNA was in infancy. So they didn't really know a lot much about it. But thank goodness they got the DNA under Tricia's fingernails. And that will come into place almost a decade later. We're going to go forward to 2003. 2003, police finally get a break on Tricia's case. And DNA was, like I said, it's definitely coming out. It's not like how it was in the 80s or early 90s. And Trish actually, had DNA, and they checked the DNA because they received Michael's DNA. He was very uncooperative, but they got it. It was a match. And you're wondering, oh my God, Catie, throw away the key, right? We got him. Unfortunately, no. Apparently, that was not enough evidence to bring him to jail. Now, I know, I'll feed you baby birds. So, just because the DNA was under the fingernails. There was eyewitnesses, Mike's friends, that said just a day before they were driving around, and then out of nowhere, Tricia has tears in her eyes, and she goes up to the boys and she goes, "I need you to drop me off somewhere." And they're like, "Whoa, okay, sure." So she gets in the vehicle. Now, just because she was in Mike's vehicle, because Mike was driving and his other friend was in the passenger seat or the back seat, we're not really sure, but there was somebody there that actually could say that, yes, Mike and I were there, we picked Tricia up, she was in my vehicle. So his lawyer was saying that's how she got the DNA under her fingernails. And tragically, that's all they had. And it definitely brought reasonable doubt. It was not concrete evidence in the case. So, sadly, Illinois detectives did not think it was enough. So the case went cold again. Yeah. I'm going to bring you back, though, to 2001. 2001 was a good old time in Hollywood. That was the time where I feel like the idols that are falling now, because if you ask me, it's the fall of Hollywood right now. But in 2001, Hollywood was like not at its prime, but I remember, they were idols to be worshipped. I remember kids wanted to look like them, be like them, and I grew up around that area, that time. So we always thought that, celebrities were like, not gods, but like untouchable, and you would do anything you could to be a celebrity or meet a celebrity. And unfortunately, that brings a lot of stalkers. That brings a lot of admirers that are not wanted. Ashley Ellerin, or Ellerin, if I say it wrong, forgive me. She did part-time fashion school in Hollywood. And it was, she was in Hollywood. She lived in the Hollywood Hills, but the school was in Los Angeles. She was extremely smart. She was smart. She was feisty. She was, she had short blonde hair, very beautiful. I mean, in fact, all these ladies I'm going to be talking about were very, very beautiful women. She had a lot of friends, Ashley. I mean, she literally has people today memorializing, her, their memories with her, even though she was only about 22 years old when her life was tragically taken. They considered her like bright, like she would walk into a room and people would automatically just come to her. She attracted a whole bunch of people and she attracted a whole bunch of suitors. In fact, one night in February, around the time of the Grammys, she was going to go out with an up-and-coming actor at the time, Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher does not really need introduction, especially not in this day and age, but in 2001, he was up and coming. Now, Ashton Kutcher was supposed to pick her up and take her to dinner, but he was late. He was extremely late. And by the time he got there, he noticed the lights were still on, and he peeked through the window, and he saw there was like a red stain on the floor. Little did he know, he thought it was a wine stain because, Ashley is like 22 years old in Hollywood Hills and gorgeous and has all these friends, so she has parties all the time, So Ashton was thinking, she spilled wine. But like I said, little did he know, it was blood. And it was such a horrible, horrible scene. And he actually, right now, this year and then a few years ago, has become a key witness to the Ashley Ellerin case. And if you're wondering, well, what happened? He got there and then he touched the door handle and then left? Pretty much. He tried calling Ashley, but he figured she went back to sleep or she was very angry at him because of him being really late. So she decided just to go out by herself and do something. Right before he called her, she was getting out of the shower, presumably getting ready to see Ashton. And she was really excited. Now, little did she know that when she stepped out of that shower, there was someone that was lurking and stalking her and went to the front door. Now, police think that she opened the door, and you're probably wondering why the hell did she open the door? I feel that Ashley thought it was Ashton. So when she was in a towel, and she opened the door, probably like, I'll be right out. Give me like 5-10 minutes or something. It was tragically, the knock on the door was not Ashton. It was Mike. Mike knew her because he was a neighbor. And I believe it was months before, her friends had a flat tire. And Mike went to go help. Now, when, the friends were there and Mike was saying, hey, can I help you? And the friends were like, thanks, but no thanks. I know how to change a flat tire. Well, Ashley showed up and he saw Ashley and he was extremely taken by her. Like I said, she's very beautiful, very gregarious, eye-catching, and like I said, very popular. And, he went to her parties, like a couple parties. A few of them he was unannounced, and it was so creepy because there's a picture where her friends, they're all smiling, but he is literally creeping in the background of the picture. Now, the friends were really creeped out by him. They called him like creepy Mike, air conditioning, my AC Mike. Because remember, at this time, this is when he did HVAC. So he would repair and do HVAC, and he lived pretty close to Ashley. In fact, you could go outside his door, like his back door or whatever, and he had an eye shot of Ashley's, I'm not sure if it was like a house or duplex, because she did have roommates, but the fact is that her home, he could plainly see through the windows of her home. So if she didn't have any curtains or anything like that, he could see all of it. I know. And you're probably wondering like, well, why is it taking this long to catch this guy? Hours earlier, now, she actually was having an affair with an up-and-coming actor, Dermond. Now, people are being pretty cruel and saying that he was a wannabe actor and nothing really happened for him, which I'm like, damn, man, can you guys be nice? Anyway, the fact is he was the property manager of her home, and they were having an affair. So he and her were intimate hours before Ashton was going to pick her up for dinner. We do not know the time of events, but one thing we do know, meaning like when did the affair start? Did she just meet Ashton a few weeks before that day? I'm getting all kinds of different times, okay? But what I need to tell you about these two guys, it's really, really important. Now, it was early in that day that she had sex with that, she was having sexual relations with that guy, Dermond or something. And Ashton did not have sexual relations with her. Like knocking down everything, sorry. And I just get nervous when I talk about like stuff like this, excuse me. I just don't want people to judge her because, she's 22, Hollywood Hills, and she probably maybe was in a friends with benefits. And then, like I said, her and Ashton with friends. So when you see articles saying like his girlfriend, they weren't even like dating yet. It was their first date technically, which is more scary because like she was murdered right before a first date. When she got out of that shower and she was in a towel and that door rang, Mike, we don't know what was said or what happened, but it was a blitz attack. He went right after her. And I want to tell you that this Ashley girl, she fought. She fought so hard for her life. Oh my gosh, guys, he stabbed her like everywhere. Because I was just wondering, okay, he stabbed her in the chest and the arms and I'm like, how the hell did he get her in the ankle? My guessing is that she was kicking him, like get, but he just kept on stabbing. And these are small girls. These are small, petite girls. And Mike is like 6'2", even though someone thought he was 5'11". The fact is, he's a lot taller than them and bigger than them. And like I said, martial arts, kickboxing. You know, this guy was like a creep. A really, really strong creep. So he ended up stabbing poor Ashley 47 times. Yeah. It's awful. Now, as soon as Ashton found out about the murder, he went and turned himself in. And so did Durand. And they were fully cooperated with the police. And they gave everything, DNA, because Ashton was freaking out because he's like, this girl that I was supposed to take on a date, I was touching all the door handles and stuff to open the door, you know, to get in there knocking, and nothing. And he's like, I'm scared. But like I said, he went to the police, they both did, and they were actually just, yeah, they were like, no. The police did not think they had anything to do with the crime at all. Man, I can't imagine. So with their cooperation, you guys, those men were not ruled as a suspect anymore. Now, the case though, unfortunately, even though you had all those stab wounds and blood everywhere, there was no evidence. None. Yeah, because of lack of forensic evidence, even her friends who went out with Mike, creepy Mike, because I mean, I assume she like was the kind of person that invited everybody. And it didn't work out. Meaning that she did not see creepy Mike's motives. She really was smart and she was feisty, but it was her friends that did not like creepy Mike. They did not like him. And they went to the police. They were like, there's this guy who's been hanging around and we do not like him and we feel like he has something to do with this. Well, Los Angeles cops said, can't go on gut feelings. I gotta have evidence. Which I'm like, okay, I get that, but shouldn't you like surveillance him or something like that? Have him on surveillance? I don't know. Sorry, I'm not a police officer or detective, but I'm just saying, like, the friends were gung-ho. Like, the friends were absolutely destroyed that, you know, even her family, I assume, was destroyed how Ashley was murdered. Because it was brutal, you guys. Like, oh my gosh, she fought. And he just kept stabbing. And those stab wounds were like, oh my gosh, like sometimes 6 inches deep. Yeah, it reminded me of like Scream. Oh, God. Out of nowhere. Like I said, imagine getting out of the shower, getting ready to go on a date. You're so excited. You're not even thinking. Someone knock on the door and ring the doorbell. You open the door. And your life is over. But like I said, no proof. So Ashley's case went cold. So during this time, this monster, police, even though I said surveillance him, they really should have. But honestly, they couldn't keep tabs on him. He would be constantly moving. Yes, he kept on moving to different cities in California outside of Los Angeles. At that time, around this time, he became a father with his girlfriend. He had several girlfriends at the time. But in 2005, he had the urge again. Now, he moved to El Monte, which is outside of Hollywood. And another brutal, vicious attack happened. Maria Bruno was a mother of 4. She had 4 children. And she was only 32 years old when her life was tragically and horrifically taken. She was viciously attacked while she was sleeping. This case is too tricky, but this time there's evidence that was left behind. Maria Bruno, she literally moved into this apartment complex because of the safety. You literally could not get in the complex, you guys, without having a key or without knowing a keypad, like a number. But somehow, Mike got in there. They say that Mike pulled out the screen door of the kitchen and went through the kitchen, and she was just sleeping. And her attack was very brutal. Maria at the time was estranged from her husband, still technically married, but she had recently had a fight with him, and, hours before, they actually were kind of rekindling their marriage. He took her out to dinner. Maybe they both drank a little too much. I'm not sure. But sadly, domestic violence ensued. And they both were fighting. And she was punched in the face. Now, I'm not sure, because I read one article this happened and another article it didn't. But it would make sense because there is such thing as angry sex. That's extreme to be punched in the face and then, talk. And anyway, I'm not blaming or anything. So the reason I'm saying that, you guys, is because it seems that Mike is waiting for the men to leave. And he knows the women are alone. And that's when he attacks. Because I think he's thinking of, they're going to think it is the last person to see her alive who did the crime. I know. Mike is, smart. It's dumb how smart he is. I mean, he's kind of right. But thank goodness none of these cases turned out that way. Yeah, that's a blessing. Bruno's ex-husband at the time, was definitely known to be a suspect. Because there was blood in the car, and there was blood trail around the vehicle too. Now, remember I told you that they rekindled their marriage and when it went out to dinner? She apparently, according to the waiter that was there, cut her hand. And she was bleeding. So that could count for the trickle blood in the car, and then when he punched her in the face, the spray that was in the vehicle. Excuse me. Now, in one article, like I said, I'm not sure she had sexual relations with him. They had sex. I mean, easy way to say it. And when he left, she was still sleeping in bed. And again, guys, when the ex-husband left, Michael went in. Like I said, he went in through the kitchen window, and it was a brutal, brutal attack. He probably was straddling her, and she was sleeping, and he just kept on stabbing. And it was so brutal, you guys, that he mutilated her. He cut off her breasts. He stabbed her multiple times, and he mutilated her private parts. Yeah. What the Really? That's a sick monster. He's already been a sick monster, but like I said, the husband was blamed, and they have 4 children together. And when you see him on the stand, you could see the remorse, and he's like, I cannot believe, I hit her in the face. He goes, I love her. He found her body. Yeah. I don't know if it was the next day or the morning or hours later. I'm not sure. But he peeked through the window, the bedroom window, to check on her because she was not answering the door. And then that is when he saw her butchered remains on the bed. And that's when he called 911. But yeah, like I said in the beginning, he was a suspect. But he was completely cooperative. He told the police everything. And this time, though, when I talked about the evidence about this case, there was a medical blue bootie. Like the little booty things that cover your shoes when you go into a hospital. That was found outside of the crime scene. So it was like, I forgot how many feet, but it looked like when he was running, he lost a booty. And there was Maria's blood that was found on the booty. So that actually was number one in the DNA. Like, oh my gosh, we got DNA. But it's Maria. It's Maria's blood. So it's really, really sad. Sorry. It's just like upsetting you guys. So after that happened, I know, I can't believe it. They have Maria's blood, they have the booty, but they look around the apartment where she was living and no evidence. No more evidence. So strangely, the case went cold. The case is cold again, guys. I know, it's really frustrating. All right, you guys, tea break. I am drinking out of my Jack Skellington mug. Yep, I'm one of those. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I really, really do. In fact, you guys, I saw it recently in theaters. A friend invited me, and it was better now than when I was a kid. I don't know why. I love it more now than before. Didn't think that was possible, honestly. I am drinking... Oh, that is magic. My favorite, guys, green tea with lemon with a little bit of honey. So good. I don't know why I do that with my nails. It's just some people really like it and some people don't like it. So if I triggered you, I do apologize. All right. Okay, guys. All right. So we were at where the case got cold, right? With tragically Maria Bruno. Again, if you guys don't realize how bad these crimes are, did you guys watch the movie Totally Killer or the Scream series? And when it's the stabbing and you hear it and you feel it and it's like, I don't know, like when I watched Totally Killer, which I watched that, guys, because of Lachlan Monroe. Lachlan Monroe played the dad in Totally Killer, and I've met him a couple times, and he completely, like, ruined my expectation of celebrities because he is amazing, kind, and a wonderful person. And I just want all the celebrities to be like that, but I've met few famous people and celebrities, and they were all not like that. And I'm not going to say who in this, because I'm not going to, like, spread anything, but Lachlan Monroe, when I saw him recently in Nightmare Weekend, he was telling me, have you seen Totally Killer? And I said, no, I haven't. He was like, you should, because he heard that I have a true crime podcast, because I have really awesome friends that are like, my friend has a true crime podcast. And I was like, oh no, oh my gosh. So we talked about it and I just watched it. And then weirdly, it led me to this case. Because I'm like, there's got to be a reason why I watched it right now. And then it just hit me. And I was like, what? Yeah, so I listen to the universe. It's all good. So, yes, sorry. Just having a little tea time. A little chat time. Yeah. Totally Killer was extremely inappropriate. It was funny. But the kill scenes were brutal. They were. Like, you could feel them. It was very well done, which is a horrible thing to say. But that actually reminded me of how these poor women were absolutely murdered. These women fought. They didn't just lay down and get stabbed. They fought. And they suffered horribly. Why? Why do they have to suffer? Like, I don't understand that. He has like this hatred of women. I just don't know where it comes from. All right. Now, I got good news for you guys. I'm going to bring you to April 28th, 2008. And the good news is, yes, tragically, the bastard attacked again. but we got a survivor. Yes, we do. I'm going to take you back to, like I said, 2008 in Santa Monica. 26-year-old Michelle Murphy, only like 5'1". She was awakened by her being asleep by actually being stabbed. She was stabbed in her right arm, her shoulder, her chest, and she actually grabs the knife. Yes. When he is stabbing, she gets her hands and like stops the knife and like grabs the knife and stops it. And she becomes injured herself. There's horrible stab wounds on her hands that she had to have stitches. What she does is she manages to bring her legs up, her knees up, you guys, and pushes him right off the bed. He falls over, okay, and she is bleeding. And in the middle of this fight, okay, in this stabbing fight, when she tried to grab the knife, he got cut. Yep, he got cut. So this is strained. This is what this part right here is what the defense attorney is fighting about his I have multiple personality disorder, I'll prove it kind of bullshit. Sorry, it's crazy. I'm like, really? Seriously? How do you sleep at night defending a monster? Anyway, so when he stabs her and she kicks him off, you guys, he rolls off the bed. He is stunned by what's going on. He starts running to get out of there. She gets up. Even after being stabbed, I'm saying adrenaline is strong. Adrenaline is very strong. She runs after him. He looks at her and says, "I'm sorry," and runs away. But as he's running away and he leaves a trail of blood. Yep, it's a mixture of Michelle's blood and Michael's blood because she got him. You know what that means? That's a hell of a lot DNA evidence. A trail of blood. Yeah. She survived though, guys. Michelle survived. 5'1", little girl, man, freaking survived. She was horrifically attacked. The police couldn't even believe how she could talk. Her pictures were very, very graphic. And she was just saying, I literally was sleeping and I woke up with this guy straddling on top of me, stabbing me. But she fought him off. She fought off her attacker. Do you guys think it was the souls of Tricia and Ashley? Right? Like trying to help her attack him back? I mean, come on. There's weirder things. Come on, like to have that strength to finally get him to stop. So, after that happens, they actually manage to get the DNA, and it's Mike. And then they realized that this Mike guy, the crime was so similar to what happened to Maria Bruno. So the detective there contacted the detective in Santa Monica and said, hey, I had this crime a few years earlier that we have not solved. And this perpetrator, what he did to Michelle, it looks awfully a lot what happened to Maria. Well, of course, police are going to help each other out. So they get the DNA and they're like, get the booty. That's the only DNA evidence that we have. And strangely, you guys, there was Mike's DNA on the booty, on the sole of the booty. Yeah, I know. I don't know what else to call it, guys. It's like a little booty, like the little, should I say medical shoe or something? I don't know. But yeah, there's DNA on there. Isn't that amazing? I was like, oh my gosh. We got him. We got this SOB. Okay? Now, and you're wondering, okay, well, how did they get the DNA to match the DNA from Michelle's crime scene from Tricia? Remember years before, Tricia had Michael's DNA underneath her fingernails? It's all coming together. It's literally coming together like one of those coming together stories. You know, like it's all coming together at the end. Yes. Mm-hmm. And it was a match. It was a match on the medical shoe. It was a match in the fight with Michelle. And it was a match under Tricia's fingernails. Now, Gargulio, whatever the hell his name is, he's a monster. He lived really close to these women. So when they had the detectives figure out, like, all right, how the hell does this guy know these women? There he was a neighbor. God, it just reminds me of the movie The Watcher. Oh, or Watcher. Not the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Not that one. It was the one with my girl. I love her. Is it Micah Monroe? Maika Monroe? I told you. I remember names, but I'm not good at them. Sorry about that. But that's a great one. If you haven't watched that one, The Watcher, she was excellent. That movie was... But yeah, he was stalking them, you guys. He literally was stalking them and watched them for hours. Learned their schedule. And messed up is when they had sex with the guy, or the guy stayed a long time, or something like that. He quickly went in right after the guy left. That's insane. Excuse me. I'm just like, what? So you're wondering, okay, Catie, tell me right now. I'm sipping tea right now. So did Tricia's family get justice? Did this 18-year-old girl get justice? Not yet. Not yet. They used the DNA to friggin' prosecute him for Ashley and Michelle and Maria's attack. Yes. They got him. But tragically, Tricia, they have not got for Tricia's murder. That is because lack of DNA evidence. But I'm going to take you to when the TV program came on. TV program, I believe, was 48 Hours. Or Dateline or something like that. And you had Tricia's dad, Rick. Oh my gosh, I watched this interview. So sad. Your heart breaks. Because you actually see, like, a father just traumatized by seeing the death of his daughter and trying to save her. And it's really, really sad. Well, guess who was watching that episode? The 2011 episode about her crime, it was actually these old bouncers that worked with Mike at the Rainbow. See how it comes around? These bouncers had a checkered past, okay? We're not Judge Judy here. They had a checkered past. They seem like they fell in the wrong crowd, maybe did drugs. I don't know what they did, but they're both fathers now, okay? And they love their children. When they saw the 2011 interview with Rick, it touched them so deeply that they looked at one another and they're like, we need to call Dateline or whoever the show was and let them know what we know. And then immediately, I think it was 48 Hours. Sorry, it's one of those. They immediately contacted Chicago police, and these two men told them what they knew. And because of that testimony of those two guys he used to work with, he's indicted. He is indicted for Tricia's murder. Yeah. Yep. So when they were bouncers, I don't know if they were in a car driving around. You know how, like, people, talk about stupid crap. Well, Michael would say all these outlandish stories. And these two guys would not, believe it. He goes, here we go again, Mike, And then, he brought up, hey, have you ever killed anybody? And those guys are like, no way, no. And he's like, I have killed her. And he actually said, I know this is so rude and misogynistic so please forgive me, but this is what he said. Quote, "I buried a bitch. I left her on the steps for dead." End quote. Because of him saying that, 13 years later, Mike was finally indicted, you son of a monster. Yes. But, guys, it's not over yet. He was obsessed with friggin' Ted Bundy. You know what that means? Yes, he represented himself at one time. There has been over 100 hearings for this case. Yes. September 2024 will be 31 years since Rick has lost his daughter. I know, Mike is like evil. Like just a piece of garbage. Human garbage. Like, okay, we know you killed the women. And he says, I didn't rape them. But they got a criminal psychologist or a not a psychiatrist, but a psychologist. And he was saying that Mike actually had to plunge the knife in these women over and over again for sexual gratification. Yeah, so his rape was stabbing these women to death. Yeah. But he was saying, I'm framed. It's not me. Yeah, this guy is horrible, you guys. Like I said, it's been over 100 hearings. The family, the friends have been dragged through the mud. The case is still not over. I know, it's not. Like I said, September 2024 is when Tricia's case just started. But he is indicted, and don't worry, he's never going to get out because he was charged with the other 3 crimes. So, bye-bye. Yeah, he's done. He's done. He's gone. But Rick wants his daughter. He wants her to feel represented. He wants justice to be served. And tragically, investigators believe that there are way more, again, guys, the V word, I'm sorry, there are way more victims out there. And I did this podcast because now you figured it out. It's an awareness serial killer podcast. There are more women out there who have either been attacked, abused, what have you. I don't know. If he started young as 17 with Tricia and then he took years off, no. Especially if he was obsessed with forensics, there has got to be other cases, cold cases around that he has something to be involved with. It could have been in Chicago and it could have been in Los Angeles. But I will keep you posted on the case, guys. I am on this white on rice. I want this guy to burn. But sadly, guys, not trying to diss California. Yes, I am. California has not executed anyone since 2006. So the chance for this monster to be executed is a very, very long time. But what I really want is for the loved ones who have been affected by this case is to find some kind of peace, is to find some kind of closure. Because what happened to these women was so awful, I can't even picture it. I can't even imagine it. They didn't do anything wrong. This guy was just sick, and he wanted them. Excuse me, sorry. But yes, investigators... Let's have a sip of tea. Oh. Investigators believe there are more people out there. Thank you. I appreciate you for listening to this podcast. Stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about the shout-outs. Thank you guys for sticking around and listening to the podcast. It means a lot. If you are fascinated by true crime, especially obscure cases or cases that just keep you up at night, definitely subscribe to this channel. I appreciate you. Now, the shout out that I want to talk about is called Shine Through. It is a foundation. And it is something that I'm actually getting pretty passionate about. If you have a child or if you have been ever encountered bullying, I feel like a lot of us have, and you feel like there is no one to turn to, you can't talk about your mental health, please know that there is someone out there who cares about you and loves you just the way you are. Shine Through Foundation helps families deal with mental illness and also raises funds to bring scholarships to children. Now, this foundation is still in its infancy. It's only like a couple years old, but how it started is absolutely horrible. I don't know if I should tell you guys. It's already sad. The main woman who started this foundation is a wonderful human being, and tragically, she lost her son to suicide, and he was only 10 years old. She did not see any type of reason or any signs or anything like that, and it's a very awful situation. Now, instead of crawling into a dark hole to never get out, she decides to be the mother for the rest of, to the rest of her children, and also want to make a difference and help other people, because she realized there's a lot of families that actually face the same ordeal. Personally, I have faced that as well, and I've lost quite a few people to suicide, and it is awful, and you don't understand it, and you get angry, but I just feel that if we just listen and have open arms and help one another, perhaps we can spread more mental health awareness. So definitely check out this foundation, donate. It's in North Carolina, but the woman, Crystal, is absolutely incredible, and she's a survivor, and she's amazing. And I love this foundation. I'm going to put the description of the foundation in the link below. And another thing, I have different art. If you love it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's awesome. I'll put the creators down there. I do not want to say the wrong names, but throughout the whole podcast I have been. I thought this girl's name was Sierra, but it's Kiera, so I may have been wrong there. She is the one that painted that is Hades with, I feel like, Megara, but apparently it's Zeus and Persephone, and I have her beautiful body covered because it's nude. So she draws a lot of nude, and because we were born nude, and I love this artist because nude isn't such a stigma to her. Like, I love it. So another shout out I would say is this wild, beautiful, chaotic one right here that's black and white. I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. My hair is a mess, so do not mind me. This is what happens when I take a shower and I take a nap and I don't brush my hair. I have wild jungle woman hair. And I would show this closer, but like I said, the, portrait behind me is nude, and I can't, even though I'm probably going to be demonetized for all the information I put on YouTube. But the one that is black and white, and it's a girl like in this mystic kitchen, it looks like, that is event tied goat art and Knox Core. And I will put her Instagram handle in the description, and same with Kiera's art. Yes. Very, very excited. Very excited to have these artists in my video, and I appreciate them. And then the pins up there, that's kind of cut off, but if you check my Instagram, I show all the pins, and that is Night of the Legging Dead. Melissa Browning owns her own small business company. She has the best buttery soft leggings ever. She sells all kinds of knickknacks, pins, magnets, and even a pin board, which I bought, and it glows in the dark. So, yeah, good times. Thank you very much for listening, you guys. I appreciate you being here. Please know that you are loved and you are cherished. And remember, you are doing better than you think. Bye.